A disputed legacy, the Essequibo region. The Essequibo region is a vast territory wedged between Venezuela and Guyana. It is a land rich in resources, a tapestry of dense rainforests, sprawling savannas, and potentially vast mineral deposits. But more than its natural bounty, the Essequibo region represents a geopolitical prize, a source of enduring tension between two nations grappling with a legacy of colonial divisions. For Venezuela, the Essequibo embodies a historical claim, a perceived injustice dating back to the 19th century. For Guyana, it is an integral part of its sovereign territory, a region it has governed since independence in 1966. The heart of the dispute lies in the ambiguous demarcation of borders established during the colonial era. The lines drawn on maps, often by distant imperial powers, left a legacy of uncertainty and competing claims. This ambiguity, coupled with the more recent discovery of substantial oil reserves within the Essequibo's maritime borders, has breathed new life into the dispute, transforming it from a simmering historical grievance into a potential flashpoint. The discovery of oil, a black gold that holds the promise of economic prosperity but also often fuels conflict, has dramatically raised the stakes. The possibility of tapping into these vast reserves has fueled nationalist sentiments on both sides, making compromise even more elusive. While Guyana views the development of these resources as its sovereign right, Venezuela sees it as an infringement upon its territorial claims, further deepening the divide. This intricate web of history, resources, and national pride creates a volatile mix. The Essequibo region, once a remote corner of South America, now stands as a potential flashpoint in a region already grappling with political and economic instability. The dispute serves as a stark reminder that the ghosts of colonialism continue to haunt the present, casting a long shadow over the quest for stability and prosperity in the 21st century. Rising tides of tension, a timeline of escalation. The year 2025 has witnessed a marked escalation in the territorial dispute between Venezuela and Guyana, pushing the two nations closer to the brink of conflict. This escalation, fueled by a series of provocative actions and counter-reactions, has sent ripples of concern throughout the region and beyond. The seeds of this latest crisis were sown in September 2023, when Venezuela's National Assembly, in a move widely condemned as provocative, initiated a referendum to create a new state called Guyana Essequibo. This proposed state encompassed a significant portion of the disputed Essequibo region, directly challenging Guyana's sovereignty. The international community, wary of escalating tensions, urged restraint and dialogue. However, their pleas fell on deaf ears. Undeterred by international pressure, Venezuela proceeded with the referendum in December 2023. The move drew sharp criticism from Guyana and its allies, who viewed it as a blatant attempt to legitimize Venezuela's claim over the disputed territory. In a show of support for Guyana, the United Kingdom deployed a warship to the region. Venezuela responded by announcing plans for military exercises, further raising the temperature. The situation continued to deteriorate in the first months of 2025. In January, Venezuela announced its intention to elect a governor for the non-existent state of Guyana Essequibo, further inflaming tensions. Guyana, feeling increasingly isolated and vulnerable, sought assistance from the International Court of Justice, ICJ, to resolve the dispute peacefully. But before any legal proceedings could gain traction, the situation took a dangerous turn. On March 1, 2025, a Venezuelan warship entered Guyana's exclusive economic zone (EEZ) and approached the Liza Destiny oil facility, a major offshore oil production platform operated by ExxonMobil. The Venezuelan vessel demanded information from the crew, asserting its authority over the area. This incursion, a blatant violation of Guyana's sovereignty, sent shockwaves through the region and beyond. Venezuela's gamble, motivations, and internal politics. Venezuela's increasingly assertive stance on the Essequibo dispute is a calculated gamble, driven by a complex interplay of internal political pressures, economic anxieties, and a desire to project strength on the regional stage. By fanning the flames of nationalism and reviving historical grievances, President Nicolas Maduro's government seeks to shore up its dwindling domestic support and distract from the country's deepening economic woes. Venezuela's economy, once the envy of South America, has been crippled by years of mismanagement, corruption, and crippling international sanctions. The once mighty oil industry, the lifeblood of the Venezuelan economy, has been brought to its knees. Faced with hyperinflation, chronic shortages of basic goods and widespread social unrest, Maduro's grip on power has become increasingly tenuous. The Essequibo dispute, with its emotive historical resonance and the tantalizing prospect of vast oil wealth, offers a convenient distraction for a beleaguered government. By portraying the dispute as a matter of national pride and existential importance, Maduro seeks to rally the Venezuelan people behind his leadership and deflect attention from his government's failings. Moreover, the dispute serves as a useful tool for Maduro to project an image of strength and defiance on the international stage. By challenging Guyana, a smaller and less powerful neighbor, Venezuela seeks to demonstrate its regional clout and push back against what it perceives as U.S. imperialism in its backyard. The timing of Venezuela's escalation, coinciding with the United States' preoccupation with other global crises, suggests a deliberate strategy to test the waters and exploit perceived weaknesses in the regional security architecture. However, this gamble carries significant risks. By escalating tensions with Guyana, Venezuela risks provoking a military confrontation that it can ill afford. Such a conflict would further destabilize the region, damage Venezuela's already tarnished international standing, and invite further international sanctions. It remains to be seen whether the potential rewards of this high-stakes gamble outweigh the very real risks involved. A region on edge: international response and uncertain futures. The international community has watched the escalating tensions between Venezuela and Guyana with growing alarm. The specter of conflict in a region already grappling with economic instability and political fragility has raised fears of a wider conflagration. The situation is further complicated by the involvement of major powers with vested interests in the region, particularly the United States, which has been vocal in its support for Guyana. Guyana, for its part, has been actively seeking international support in its bid to defend its territorial integrity. The government in Georgetown has condemned Venezuela's actions as a blatant violation of international law and has called for a peaceful resolution to the dispute through diplomacy and international legal mechanisms. Guyana has also strengthened its military presence in the Essequibo region, deploying troops and equipment to deter further aggression from Venezuela. The United States, which has had a strained relationship with Venezuela for years, has emerged as a staunch supporter of Guyana in this dispute. The Biden administration has condemned Venezuela's actions as provocative and unacceptable and has warned of serious consequences should Venezuela continue its aggressive posture. The U.S. has also provided military aid to Guyana and has conducted joint military exercises in the region, sending a clear signal of its commitment to Guyana's security. However, the path to a peaceful resolution remains fraught with obstacles. Venezuela, under the leadership of Nicolas Maduro, has shown little willingness to back down from its claims. Maduro, facing mounting domestic pressure and international isolation, may see the Essequibo dispute as a way to rally nationalist sentiment and deflect attention from his government's failings. This makes it unlikely that Venezuela will be amenable to a negotiated settlement that does not recognize at least some of its territorial claims. The situation is further complicated by the presence of significant oil reserves in the disputed maritime area. The discovery of these reserves has raised the stakes considerably, making a compromise even more difficult to achieve. Both Guyana and Venezuela see the oil wealth as essential to their economic futures, and neither side is likely to relinquish its claim without a fight. The international community faces a daunting challenge in trying to defuse this potentially explosive situation. Diplomacy remains the best hope for a peaceful resolution, but it will require sustained engagement from all parties involved, as well as pressure from key international actors like the United States and regional organizations like the Organization of American States, OAS. Failure to find a peaceful solution could have devastating consequences for the region, plunging it into a conflict that would benefit no one.